Time to talk about the most important topic in business, digital agency payment terms best practices. I'm going to talk all about payments in this video. So if you're ready to hear about that, jump on in. Let's do it. These are going to be some tips on how to get paid, what to get paid, how to ask for payment, and then some general questions all related to collecting money from your clients and potential clients. So here we go. Tip number one is do an initial deep dive the first month. So the easiest way that I've found to get a long-term retainer is to actually sell something in the first month that's easier to commit to. At Experiment 27, we do an initial marketing plan and deep dive in month one, which we charge a flat fee for, before moving into a yearly or a 6-month contract. And I found that that's the easiest way to do it. In mobile app development, what works easiest is doing a strategy session. So either taking place over a week or two where you map out everything in the app, or even just a one-day like hardcore session where you're mapping everything out. Sell them on that first, and that's going to be the easiest thing. If you don't change anything about the way you sell, but you add that initial session, you're going to see your yearly contract value go up tremendously, as evidenced by what's working with Experiment 27. Tip number two is sell either 6 or 12-month contracts. Experiment 27, what we used to do is I used to sell month to month, and we did this at Inspire Beats as well, monthly contracts. And the problem with monthly is when you're doing something like marketing, that first month you might be able to show results, but it really leads to short-term thinking. So for instance, if I wanted to get results in the first month with a marketing program, I might do cold calling, which I did a video on, by the way, check it out, or I might do pay-per-click ads, right? But for the long-term health of the business, the type of business I get from those pay-per-click ads might not be the best use of time, right? Like it might be better to put a speaking gig strategy in place, or change the content strategy of the agency. Things that will only show results in like 6 months, but will show major results, right? We'll get the big contracts. So that's why I like to do 6 to 12-month contracts. It gives you enough time to actually deliver on your promises. Make your pricing available on your website. I've had my team push back on this a little bit. Recently, my sales team is trying to test prices. So they'll pitch some people high, they'll pitch some people lower, and they'll like test a bunch of different prices on them, which, you know, I got to let my team do what they're going to do, right? So I want to see if that's true. In the past, when I was selling software as a service and productized services, I was a big advocate, still a big advocate for putting the prices on the website. I'll let you know how this test goes, though. We'll probably be testing no pricing on the site for the next couple months and just see how it goes. But for now, this is the best thing I've found is if you put your pricing on the site, customers aren't scared off. They'll see exactly what you're charging, and they'll be more likely to buy from you. And the leads that come in are going to be higher quality because they know the price. Tip number 3 is go premium. If you charge more than anyone else and you charge what you need, you're a lot more likely to hit your results. So the story for this one is I used to charge, one time when I was first getting into freelancing, I charged this guy on Craigslist $50 to write an email for him. So I wrote an email for his business and he sent it out. It was a promotion for cleaning supplies. It was a cleaning company in New York. And he made $10,000 from that $50 email. Now, based on that, I probably should have charged like at least a couple $100, right, to do this, but I didn't. And I was stressed the whole time, and he actually wanted his money back after it because he felt like I didn't put enough time into the email. I don't know how much time he was expecting me to put in for $50, and it made a bunch of money. But that's the problem with going low. People will nickel and dime you. They'll try to get more refunds to lower you charge, etc., etc. But if you go premium, you'll have more resources. And the way that I like to actually think about premium pricing in quotes is charge what you need to actually get the work done, right? So if I think about mobile app development, right? If I think, hey, I need to grow this mobile app development company from $3 million in revenue to $6 million in revenue, what do I actually need to make that happen, right? Do I need to put 4 people on there? Am I paying those 4 people $3,000 a month? Well, I need to put a profit margin on there. 50% profit margin is good for agencies. So I need to charge at least $6,000 per person per month that's on this project to get this done, right? And the agency founder, right, if I give them $3 million in revenue, they're going to be fine with 10% of that, $300,000, right? So that's the way I try to think about pricing. What you don't want to do is get into is make the mistake that I've made in the past, which is not charging enough and cutting the timeline by too much. So for instance, if I was like, hey, I'll grow your revenue by $3 million this year, I only need $12,000, I'll do $1,000 a month and we'll get this done. All of a sudden, I don't have enough resources to fulfill the contract. I can't hire the right people and I fail. And it's a bad case study. It makes X27 look like shit if I did it like that. So that's like the mistakes that I made in the past. Now we charge premium because we're forced to charge premium because that's what gets results. And actually, a lot of buyers will see that too. They know that they've hired cheap in the past and it hasn't worked. So if you hire premium, most of the time buyers know that that means they're going to get something that actually works out. Tip number 4 is setting up the payment terms. How do you set up these payment terms? Tom from Dom and Tom, back when I used to work there, he used to be super aggressive with the payment terms. He asked us to always ask for 70% upfront. I am a big advocate of 100% upfront for the first month and then pay each month 100% upfront as you go. Some freelancers will do 50-50. I think the greatest way to do payment terms is to do it monthly. So have them pay the entire month up front, put it on a credit card. Don't do ACH or any of those transfers where you have to collect because that just adds extra cost, and just go from there. The other thing I want to say about the breakdown of the pricing is ask for as much upfront as you possibly can and see what their pushback is or how they react. If I had started with 50% upfront and 50% on delivery, I would have stayed there, right? Like the assumption is, hey, I'm asking for 50%, so they give me 50%. That's amazing. However, it wasn't until I tried asking for 100% upfront that I started getting 100% upfront. If you get what I'm saying. So I would recommend you start asking for 100% of your contract value upfront and then let your customers talk you down from there. Tip number 5, increase your agency cash flow. So you want to make sure, back to the premium pricing point, that you have enough money in the bank. So you're charging enough to actually increase the amount of money that's going in. You want to save, ideally you want to save between 6 months and a year of expenses in the bank. X27 doesn't have that yet, but I'm trying to pull money and put it in this bank account because what you want to do is you want to be able to weather ups and downs in the industry. Because who knows, right? Like maybe you don't sell any deals for 6 months. You don't want your company to go under when that happens. Tip number 6 is upselling your client or changing the policy down the line. You want to build into your decks and your packages upsells. So for instance, for Experiment 27, our breakdown is we have that initial month. Then we'll move into a retainer anywhere from $4,000 to $15,000 to $16,000 a month. And then there's upsells built into that. So let's say for $8,000 a month, a client gets pay-per-click and cold email outreach. Well, 3 months down the line, once we're showing results with both of those, we can add PR to that for another $4K a month. We can add any of the other services, directory management for another $2K, or even an outsourced CMO like consulting gig for another $4K a month, right? So that all of a sudden that $8K a month is now $20K a month, right? Because the upsells are built in, and it's not really upselling if it's places to add more value, right? So let's say our goal is we tell the client up front we want to get them from $3 million to $6 million in revenue. If they're already on track to hit that within 2 or 3 months of us doing these services, then we could talk to the client and say, hey, I think we're going to hit this $3 million and we're actually really on track. What if we bumped that to $6 million, right? Let's double the retainer amount and let's go for broke, right? Like let's try to hit this higher number. And the client will be all for that because what's better than 100% growth? 200% growth, right? As a company to keep growing faster. Number 7 is how do you prepare and manage refunds? I am a big proponent of always refunding whenever anybody asks, but I always try to trade time instead of refunds. So for instance, let's say you fail at a project completely. So for instance, let's say I'm selling cold email outreach and it's like month 3 and we sold 30 meetings booked and we're only at like 8 meetings. If it's that bad, a lot of the time I'll most of the times I'll refund, I'll give the money back. But sometimes, and what I always try to do is say, hey, we'll work for free for the next 3 months. I don't know, I won't say I don't know. I'll say, hey, the systems broke down, and I'll explain exactly what happened. Because there's obviously a reason why we only hit 8 meetings instead of 30, right? Like something's broken. So we'll fix what's broken, and then we'll continue to work for free for those 3 months until we hit those meetings, right? And normally, once we pay enough attention to the account, like the reason why it's failing is almost always because somebody's not paying enough attention, right? Whether it's the production team or the sales team or the client's not implementing changes, like something's wrong. But after that 3-month break, when people see that the project's failing, that's normally when they focus more attention on it, and we can fix and then exceed those numbers in the next round. So that's how I manage refunds. The thing you don't want is you don't want clients back charging, so pulling the money out of your accounts, because that's super annoying. And the easiest way, and can get you banned from like Stripe or Chargebee or any of these payment processors. So in order to avoid that, if somebody really wants a refund, pass it to them immediately. And really, okay, if somebody's asking for a refund, it's either one, because you really screwed them over, even if you don't realize it or internalize that you did that. So the easiest way to get your reputation back is to give them the money back. The only other reason why someone would ask for a refund is they really needed that money, like you were a gamble for them. In which case you really should give the money back as well, because if they need the money more than you do, it's very immoral actually to keep that money. So I'm a big fan of giving refunds when asked, and having that 6 months in savings will hopefully mean that you can take a lot of refunds and not go down as a company. This is something I'm still toying with, because I'm super stressed every time somebody wants a refund, because I see our bank account going down, and it just means we have to sell more deals the next month. So actually, the last month we had a 0% refund rate, and that was because I'm so scared of this. So part of this is what drives us to actually succeed with all our projects, because I don't want anyone to refund. Tip number 8, what is a healthy profit margin for an agency? I would always target a 50% profit margin, which means if you charge somebody $6,000, it should only cost you $3,000. The reason why that is sort of back to the previous point. If for some reason you're failing and you have to work a few extra months, you won't lose a bunch of money if you have that buffer in. Also, the 50% can help pay for managers or lower level people that aren't delivering 100% accretive value. It can help pay for accountants, and then if you don't want to have a nomad company, it can pay for office space. So 50% margin, that's what I try to target. Most agencies will have about a 30 to 40% margin. Tip number 9, do you give an overall project estimate? I always recommend yes, be very upfront with your pricing. How do you price your projects? What are you going to implement? I think you should price your projects based on the value that you deliver. Aim for 10x return. So if you charge somebody $9,000, you should be making them $90,000. If you charge somebody $1 million, you should be making them $10 million. 10x the value is a good way to price. If you need marketing support for your digital agency, check out experiment27.com. Like this video to encourage this type of content on YouTube, and subscribe for more B2B sales training. I'm Alex Berman. Talk to you later.